Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's that time again, folks. Time for the world-famous motion picture Retribution Power Hour, presented to you by the illustrious Evening Brothers. Take it away, band.
Welcome to MPRPH, the motion picture Retribution Power motherfucking Hour. We're earning our explicit tag right away this time.
That's right, bitches.
Because it has
shitheads.
been 30 Lord Anointed minutes since we planned on starting recording, and now we are finally starting.
Yeah, we're recording. I am Brother John, and
I am Brother Lincoln,
and I am Brother Preston.
He did it.
It's amazing. It's hey, you know what?
Did the thing.
Small victories.
Oh wait, hang on,
motherfucker! I swear to you, if we have to restart this podcast, I am gonna lose my goddamn mind.
Preston, Jonathan and I will record it. We'll just send you a track to like chuckle half-heartedly along to as you listen. We'll just make you record asynchronously.
I cannot express to you how fast I will drive to Utah.
With a 2010 Mac Mini, because that's going to be a better solution than whatever you have right now.
A fucking Nintendo DS would get us further than this ass.
You know what, Lincoln? If I had another option, I would use it. But I don't.
Do we have to restart? Did you run out of bars again?
No, I'm totally messing with you.
Oh, good.
Oh my god.
Oh, beans.
Oh, sweet beans.
Sweet holy beans. We're ready to record.
Preston, I would like to formally apologize for an emotional outburst that one or the other of your co-hosts may have had.
Oh, no. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very much.
So,
I mean, Lincoln was already mad at me. I just needed you to be mad at me as well.
Goal achieved. It happened for you.
Preston, I'm never mad. I am just disappointed.
I know. And I do a really, really good job of disappointing you.
Oh, man.
Well, I made you watch Twilight. This is called the motion picture Retribution Power Hour, and I sure feel like there's some retribution involved here. You both paid dearly for this view time, for this watch.
I cannot express to you how bad this movie is.
Did you ever consider that maybe my audio problems today were, I don't know, in retribution for something else?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or perhaps just a curse.
Or perhaps a curse that Edward Cullen himself has laid on our podcast.
Yeah.
That we would sully the Batman's name like this. Like I assume we're going to later.
As I can only assume.
Yeah, I just want to hear what's your general thoughts on it so far.
Sucks ass. It's bad. It's not good.
I don't know if I've seen a worse movie.
I was so surprised at how much this felt like a 12-year-old made it in iMovie.
Oh yeah. That's kind of the main thing. It feels like a kid made it.
Yeah.
From the writing to the acting to the cinematography.
The best way I can describe this movie is having all of the constitution of a wet, limp noodle.
Hey.
And not a good, like, al dente pasta noodle.
Preston.
Like a mushy, disgusting, overcooked
Equivalent
noodle.
punishment is later.
He's getting ahead of himself.
I'm jumping the gun because I cannot wait.
Yeah, I don't know, Lincoln, I don't know what you were looking for on this, but bad job. Bad job. I mean, good job, obviously, because that's the whole point of what we do here, but bad job.
Lincoln, you're lucky we're still friends.
This was a popular movie. This is the thing that I kept thinking throughout this, is like this made so much just sweet cash. How?
Yeah, it did.
How?
Yeah. I think one thing that I want to say, not in the film's favor, this is just a neutral thing. Have you ever seen a YA movie that made this many decisions?
Oh, boy, did it make decisions.
There were so many
all
decisions.
The wrong ones, to be fair. But no, it made decisions left and right.
Like, it represents an era of artistic control. Like, this is why directors don't have artistic control now. Like, this movie was like, we learned our lesson. Like, let's not let our artists make movies anymore.
Yeah, no. The lesson was not find good artists. The lesson was like, I don't think we should have allowed that.
That shouldn't have happened. There should have been something in the bylaws to prevent Twilight from getting made. So anyways, Twilight is the movie it's a story of Bella Swan, who is played by Kristen Stewart, and she moves in with her estranged father to the town of Forks in the Pacific Northwest and goes to high school there, where everybody loves her and is open and kind and inviting.
Yeah, there's no high school drama at all.
None at all. And while she's in high school, she
whatsoever.
meets the Cullens, who are a kind of foster family, an incestuous foster family. So like the incestuous has a couple asterisks next to it, I guess. And they're like cool rich kids who always just walk in during lunch and eat lunch and then go home, I guess.
That seems to be, yeah, like they definitely don't go to science class. The movie made damn sure we knew that.
Yeah, they don't go to science class. And one of them is named Edward, and he's played by beloved the Batman himself, Robert Pattinson.
The guy from The Lighthouse, Robert Pattinson.
The guy from The Lighthouse, who isn't Willem Dafoe. Although
The
Willem
Vengeance
Dafoe in this
himself,
movie
Yes.
is
Robert Pattinson.
insane.
Vengeance.
Vengeance, is that what you said, President? Vengeance himself?
That's a funny
sure.
joke, Preston. Hey, Preston, you made it
That's a good
funny.
one. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
you're
take a
welcome.
moment to recognize that.
I like
I'm
that.
trying to contribute here. You know, I know I've caused you a lot of anger and frustration, and I'm trying to make up for it.
You're doing good.
You're doing good already,
Also,
Preston.
Thank
Quick side note, Lincoln, before as I derail you, I guess. I kept calling him Peter Cullen, and Peter Cullen is the guy who voices Optimus Prime. That's just, I need you guys to know that.
If my voice
Peter
wasn't shot,
Cullendale?
I would try to do a Optimus Prime voice and say something Edward would say.
Ooh, can I take a different approach
Yeah,
and
try
give you
it,
guys
try
just a little taste of Robert Pattinson as a Transformer? It could be it's gonna be Optimus.
Wait,
Robert
we're going
Pattinson
the other way
as,
around?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh, okay.
chop and screw it. I'm gonna flip it
Yeah,
around.
yeah. The popular cousin of yes and is yes, but.
Yes, however.
Let me do my own thing.
Yeah. Okay, so it's gonna be him from this movie, just so we're clear.
Okay.
My name is Optimus Prime.
All it takes is a little energon and a lot of luck.
I didn't really have a lot to go on with that.
No, you didn't.
Hey, you know what's cool? You know what I like is when we sort of drive past a joke that's not gonna make it into the podcast.
Yeah, just wave it goodbye. Wave that
just
little
like-
bit goodbye.
That could have been something. Bye, buddy.
Swing and a miss. Come on, guys.
Tell me about it.
Let's keep going. I'll power through. So she meets a bunch of friends. They're all like really, really nice, which we pointed out, which is kind of funny. Like, there's no high school drama. It's all just like loving, caring, welcoming friends. And she decides to fall in love with the one guy in literally the whole school who is not loving and welcoming and caring and respectful.
In fact, I would go so far as to say he makes up for all the love and care from the other people,
Yeah.
everyone else in that school.
He brings the average back down to the national, normal levels.
Yeah.
Oh, but before she meets Edward, she meets Jacob, and Jacob again, really, really nice. Just
Pretty
a
chill dude.
Solid
Pretty
chill dude.
Chill guy. If there ever, now I'm not suggesting that this would ever happen, but if there ever were to be a love triangle, it seems, just so crystal clear who's like a better person for any
a front
human
runner,
being.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
hey, what do I know?
So she chooses Edward. Edward watches her while she sleeps a couple times. There's a lot of like really groovy amplified electric guitar sounds, which is fun. They fall in love literally through nothing at all. It just is declared by the narration. I am now in love with Edward Cullen. And then they get to know each other after that. So they fall in love, and then they learn who they are. It turns out Edward Cullen is a vampire, which, unlike every other movie in which vampires are cool, here they're total dorks. They're just absolute dweebs.
They are the trolls
Are you
from the
referring
Trolls
to
movies.
Morbius?
Yeah, Morbius. Even in Morbius, vampires are cooler than in this movie.
Yeah, 100%.
And then she goes to meet Edward's quote-unquote family, which is just entirely composed of vampires, and they're also all really nice. Everyone is so kind.
I would love to take a quick pause on them being nice and suggest that they're nice. They're nice in a Ted Bundy way. They're not like nice. They're not like welcoming and cool. They're like
the
totally
dad is
fine.
like, she's part of our family now. Let's protect her. And then they go into great lengths and even hurt themselves trying to protect her.
I mean, yeah, but the vibe is not good, is what I'm telling you. Like the scene with the family, there is no part of that that's normal or feels like like an interaction two people would have.
No, but they're not people.
Notice I didn't say human beings. I think vampires are people, and actually I think it's really discriminatory that you would suggest otherwise.
Well, I don't think they're people, and I hate this movie, but I do think that they're nice. They're just not nice people.
Okay, I think we can all agree that they hate salad bowls, so that's important.
Yeah, because one of them crushes them in her bare hands. It's kind of a great scene, actually.
Probably the coolest part of the movie.
Vampires in this movie aren't allergic to sunlight. They're not vulnerable to crosses or garlic. They have all the superpowers, so like they can fly. They can't transform, even though that'd be wicked cool. And their skin sparkles in the daylight.
Yeah, I have a theory about that. I feel strongly that whoever, Stephanie Meyer, is that who wrote this? I feel strongly, because I know that it started as like a 50 Shades fan fiction, or maybe the other way around. Anyway.
Other way around.
Is it the other way around? Okay, well, then that lends a little extra credence to my theory. I have this theory that she didn't actually do any research on vampires at all, like even a little bit. She was just like, okay, let me list off things I know about vampires. 1, drink blood. 2, don't like sunlight, presumably for cosmetic reasons. And 3, nope, that's it. That's all I have.
That's all I know.
I think that checks out because the amount of research that happens in the movie that leads whatever the main character's name is to figure out that Eddie is a vampire.
Eddie.
I think they just regurgitated that exactly from what Stephanie Meyer did in research for the book.
That makes a lot of sense.
There's like 4 total clicks. Like Google, click, 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 click. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
With a couple
and
scrolls
a very,
in
very
between there.
deadpan delivery. Well, you're a vampire.
That had
That
had a little Midwestern kind of funk on it, Preston.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like saw the potato salad materialize in your hands.
Yeah, like, oh hey there, you're a vampire.
You're a vampire. Care for some of this potato salad? My mom ate it.
In classic form, we all got a little too excited to make the jokes, and we talked over each other.
I'll have to weave that back out. I'll have to take this terrible tangle and turn it into a beautiful tapestry of audio later.
Fix it in post, which I can only imagine was also what they tried to do with this movie. And
it had to be.
Well, they said fuck it in post. They said fuck it while filming and then fuck it in the edit.
And they really fucked it, didn't they?
They keep falling in love, and then literally like 32 minutes before the movie's over, the villain is introduced.
Oh yeah, there's a story in this one too.
There's a story in this story. Did you know that? The villain is another vampire.
There's a story. There's just no like conflict to drive the story.
No, not at all.
Sorry, we're not talking about the movie yet. My apologies, Lincoln.
We can. You're welcome to.
No, I say shut the fuck up. I agree.
And the bad guy is a vampire who wants to hunt and kill Bella because it's the ultimate hunt is to hunt humans that are being guarded by vampires.
Which, like, I have such a problem with that. Like, why? In what world is that even part of the game that they play? Like, I would think that the ultimate hunt would be vampire hunters. That would be something. Like, people who could defend themselves. How many times do you come across this situation, right? Because it's not a lot, I feel.
This is the only time. That's why he was going so mad about it. He was like, this is my only time I'm ever going to hunt someone who's being protected by other vampires.
He's one of those guys that gets, like, really stoked that today is a different day than yesterday, you know? Like,
yeah, midnight rolls around. He's like, it's tomorrow, guys.
Yes. Happy Tuesday, idiots.
He lives the way that all of us should live, which is in the moment. Just
moment to moment. Perhaps a little too much.
And then they have a big fight, and Edward almost kills the bad guy, and then they go, stop it, we're not like this. And then Edward's like, ugh, okay. And then he backs off the body, at which point the other vampires then rip the guy to pieces and set him on fire.
Which
and that's
obviously
pretty much the movie.
sick. But yeah, no.
Yeah, very sick. Very cool.
Well, that's not. Hey, hold on.
to
That's
see
not
it,
quite
though.
the end of the movie, is it, Lincoln? That's not quite the end of the movie.
The end of the movie is. Wait, what is the end?
Well, okay, I can't blame you because I took my little tune-out break for this movie about 3/4 of the way through. There's a chance I fell asleep, not 100% sure. Anyway, so I could see how you might have taken your kind of checkout break at the end. The end of this movie is they go to a prom and then it's
they go
very
to prom.
awkward. And he
I
almost
remember that.
turns her into a vampire, but then he's like, "Am I not enough for you?" And she's like, "What? Okay." And then the credits.
Yes, I remember this. It's a lovely prom at the end between this 17-year-old girl and this 150-year-old vampire man.
Aww.
Aw, it's so sweet.
Love
He's so much more
no
powerful than
bounds.
her. There's no way that they could consent. Which is just one of the many problems with this movie that now I want to get into. But first, I want to talk about homework.
Yes.
For your homework, I told you I listened back to the quote, so I made sure I said the homework again correctly, which was search the phrase Twilight fan fiction and then, quote, let the spirit lead you from there. So what I want to hear from each of you, and I have one as well, but Preston, I want you to start, and I want you to tell me, just start from that search and take us on a little journey through what you found.
Well, as I have discovered, I cannot exit out of my recording app to go find my fan fiction.
Oh no.
Which I know
Based
sounds very convient.
This is going to be
However-
based on memory then.
Yeah, go from memory.
This
Tell
is
us
the
about it.
situation. I did a Google search. I clicked on the first option. I scrolled through the menu in something that can only be described as horror and hatred and pessimism for the human race.
Yes.
And
I experienced
humanity
all
in
of this.
general. Mm-hmm. And I clicked on the one that seemed the least horrible and the least sexual, and there you go.
And then what did you find?
What was it? Did
What
you
was it?
read
What was it called?
Any of it?
You know, I read the first paragraph, and that was more than enough for me.
So Preston, actually, I would love to ask you one real question, which is, what was it about even at all?
You know, that is a very great question. And unfortunately, I did not read it in enough detail to be able to tell you.
What was the title?
He sounds
There was
like
two
a
characters.
politician talking about the deficit. Excellent question.
It was
Yeah,
it
it
was
sounds like
about
it just
two
got-
characters that I did not recognize that very well could have been from this movie, and I just did not remember. Could be from one of the other books. Could not tell you.
Named Bella and Edward.
No, it wasn't. It was two completely different names.
Ella
Great.
and Bedward.
Okay, well,
right,
John,
well, that was
why don't you tell us
super
what's going
exciting.
on?
As per usual, I'm here to scoop up the ashes of Preston's homework and put them into my own little thing.
Sculpt them in
I
your own
did-
little present.
Yeah, yeah. I did start with the term Twilight fan fiction, and then I was so confronted by just heaps of pornography that I decided maybe I was going to refine my search a little bit. So I went and I searched Twilight crossover fan fiction, and that led me to a very beautiful little site that was almost some not porn, and
It was that's almost not porn.
I found probably the greatest thing on the internet. I don't know. It was a long list of possible crossovers, and there were so many enticing little morsels that I almost clicked on. But the one that I landed on is a Twilight crossover with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yes. Okay.
Which was so specific that I had no choice but to look into it. It's a 4-chapter little story, and I'll give you a quick overview because not a whole ton happens in this. I will say, lore-wise, they really dug into both sides. So this takes place as
Can I pause you? I I experienced a similar thing when I was searching for my fanfic with, was it literally just like so much description and trying to show off how much you know about the community and then like the barest resemblance of a story to try to like tie it all together?
Absolutely. It was it was like, I have watched every frame of Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and very little and I know how to tell a story.
Yes.
So this takes place after Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice with the assumption that Lois Lane is crushed by a rock and Superman just sort of didn't turn evil as was prophesied in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Okay. And the general story is Superman repeatedly saves Bella from various... Oh, this is also years after the Twilight saga where she... Apparently, Edward is dead or gone. I'm not entirely sure. I think he's gone because he's not dead, actually. I know that.
Because he comes back and he fights Superman?
He doesn't fight Superman. I was so excited about where this was going. Anyway,
Superman's kind of the opposite of a vampire. He's like charged by the sun.
Well, I mean, the opposite of maybe a normal vampire.
That's
not
true.
These ones. I guess he is, in that he's just sort of Matt like any other human man would be. So Bella is a school teacher now, and she has dated around and found nobody that fits her type, which is apparently skeezy little rat man, if we're to appreciate these movies. So she's a school teacher, and she repeatedly finds herself in trouble with a deteriorating society. There's a bunch of crooks around. Superman saves her twice in the first 2 chapters, and then there was an author's note that said, I promise, out of 4, yes. And the author's note said at the end of chapter 2, I promise this isn't just going to be 4 chapters of Bella getting into weird scenarios and Superman getting her out of them, which is, I would say, patently false. That is exactly what happens in every chapter after that. Batman comes in, Bruce Wayne comes in. There's a whole dichotomy with Bella trying to figure out why he's involved in this, and also why Clark Kent's involved in this, and also why Clark Kent reminds her of somebody, but she can't figure out who.
Okay, great. Yeah. She says she has the same level of intelligence that she has in the movie.
That is exactly correct. By the end of this saga, she is being stalked by Edward again. Superman thinks he's a kind of a weirdo, which is fair because he is. And she adopts a weird little orphan child, and that is the end of the story.
John, that is wonderful.
Thank you.
That is very good. and you really thought that you found the best fan fiction.
That's because I'm pretty sure I did. I spent a lot of time
and I'm pretty sure
that.
You didn't. I'm gonna take you on my little journey. Okay. I first opened up incognito mode.
Oh, you're so much smarter than I am.
And then I turned on a VPN.
God, my algorithm is really going to be fucked by this one, huh?
Yeah, that was exactly the right word too. Then I went to the fanfic collection on Archive of Our Own, which, you know, I think both of you probably clicked into that and then clicked back out. But yes. I had the courage to continue diving.
Couldn't
and
be more proud of you.
I sorted by date and then scrolled to the bottom and found one of the earliest Twilight fanfictions ever written.
Oh.
And I am going to... Oh, can I? Yes. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to quickly copy the image of the... I'm going to copy the image of the fanfic, and I'm going to send it to the chat right now, and I'm going to just let you absorb it.
I'm just gonna. I got a little notification. I wonder what's in. What the holy shit is this? Hey, Lincoln. Hey, Lincoln. Hey, what the hell is what? Whoa.
Please describe what you see.
John, you're not selling this for me.
I don't know if I can describe what I'm seeing. All I can assume is that Edward Cullen is some sort of astronaut god.
You got it exactly right.
What in the Microsoft Paint?
What the fuck is this, Lincoln?
Here is on this portrait.
Don't say any more words. I can't handle it right now.
Yeah. Hey, Lincoln. We don't. Why? Why did you do this to us?
So I think you will be. You clearly can tell now that I, in fact, found the best fan fiction of Twilight, just based on that. Wait till I tell you what the story's about.
I thought I had seen the best thing imaginable, and now I have looked upon the face of God.
You got to put that in the show notes for sure.
Here's the problem is that I can't stop looking at it. I can't stop making eye contact with it.
So I got to describe it. People need to know what we're looking at is what appears to be a Mayan pyramid, which is at the bottom of the frame, and then the title is to the left. And then at the midpoint, there's kind of a flare of light, and just above this flare of light is Edward Cullen's visage, layered, lovingly feathered into an image of an astronaut's helmet, and he's like the sun rising over the pyramid, but it's his face.
It's like the Teletubbies, baby. Oh, I'm weeping, Lincoln. I can't handle this.
So, do you want to hear what it's about now?
Okay, all right. Let me compose myself. Let me prepare myself. Okay. What could this possibly be? Is time travel involved?
Strangely, yes, actually. Okay, I'm gonna read you the summary, and then I'll kind of take you through my own summary of it. Okay. This is the official summary posted in March of 2012. So 12 years ago.
And 4 years after this movie came out.
Yeah. It says, Bella is like every other girl until she touches an unfamiliar stone at the museum, an event that now links her to an astronaut with a strange tattoo. When the end of the world is near, only they can solve the mystery before it's too late, or precisely before December 21st, 2012. What? So, want to hear what happens now?
I would love to hear what I want nothing more than to hear what happens.
So, this author, I can't help but this author is so endearing to me because whoever this is knows a lot about both Mayan history and about NASA, and they're just like so excited to show off all their knowledge. So we start with Bella and Alice and Rosalie, who are the other vampires probably. I don't know. Sure, they can be. And they're going to Houston to visit the Johnson Space Center and Art Museum.
Right.
They start by going to Abercrombie and Fitch.
Okay.
And then they go to the Art Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts, and they go to the Arts of Mexico, Central, and South America exhibit, which apparently this I am only assuming 14-year-old also saw, because it is a very detailed description of what's in the museum. Lots of really great description. I gotta say the grammar and spelling and formatting of this is immaculate. It's like excellently formatted, which is really funny. And she sees a stone, which is again described as the stone consists of 3 rings, one around another with symbols on each circle. The ones on the smallest ring are dots and dashes. On the second one, a sort of small figures chiseled into the stone, and the third one has a full-fledged Mayan drawing on it. Finally, in the middle of the 3 rings, there is a symbol that looks like a combination of a yin-yang and the Egyptian Eye of Ra with a cross, and something that resembles a CD. Remember the days where you could compare something to a CD?
2012. How we miss you.
And then she touches it and gets a vision of the end of the world, of the solstice. And then it does some sort of zap on her, and then she sees a statue called the Cullen Sculpture, which is just a body, no head, a naked sculpture of a man.
Okay.
And she says, "Wow, that statue's pretty great."
Oh, she's horny for the statue.
Yes. And let me see what she says. She says, "The model must have certainly been a fine specimen. One no woman with her wits about her would have kicked him out of her bed."
Ew, what? Ew.
So she's saying
I wouldn't kick that guy out of bed for eating crackers through
And
his neck hole.
they go to a Mexican restaurant. She makes a point. She says, there are a few in Seattle, but the food isn't as good as it is in Texas, which I think is probably accurate.
Oh, my home state. There's a chance I might run into this person.
Then they go to NASA and they see a sign at the door that says lunch with an astronaut. And the astronaut walks in. This beautiful astronaut walks in and he says, good afternoon, ladies. My name is Captain Edward Cullen, and I'll be lunching with you today. So guys, Edward Cullen is an astronaut.
Oh, so we're talking about like alternate universe fan fiction here.
Fully alternate universe.
Okay.
So actually, I want to stop here. So she falls in love with him at first sight. And I want to point out that this story, as crazy batshit as it is, actually fixes some of the problems with Twilight. Because the first thing is that all the characters in this story are 21 and older. They're all old enough. They go to a bar and it says we showed our IDs to the person at the bar and then they let us in.
Nice.
And so we already are kind of avoiding the like weird age difference. And then Edward Cullen's not a vampire. He's just a cool guy.
Wait, hold on. Are there vampires in this story?
Nope.
Just a bunch of space gods.
They meet. They have a great little meet cute. Then they meet at the club later. They dance together. Then there's some terrible stuff happen.
Oh, so you didn't entirely dodge the...
No, I really thought I would have, but I didn't.
Wow, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Are you suggesting to me... No, let me rephrase that. Are you telling me that someone wrote like 15 pages of Mayan information and a description of a museum, and then they were like, okay, now that all of our characters are settled, it's smut time?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. That's exactly what happens. Except the 15 pages of Mayan information is afterwards.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so it turns out Edward is the center of a prophecy that's bringing about the end of the world, and they have to do a blood sacrifice, and then they do it, and they prevent the apocalypse, and then that's the end of the story for now.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, it's crazy that they predicted the end of Aquaman. That's pretty cool. I'm proud of them for that.
So if you're ever wondering why the world didn't end in 2012, it's because Bella and Edward, the astronaut, Cullen,
thanks,
did
cool
a blood
regular
sacrifice.
man space person Edward.
So there you go. There's my fan fiction that I found.
I was so confident, and I was so wrong.
So, I don't even know how to recover from what I just read.
Are we going to talk about the movie?
I think we need to talk about the movie now.
Okay, yeah.
I think we have to at this point.
Seems like we oughta.
Okay, so this movie has a lot of problems with it.
I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was just a real 10-pointer. It was perfect. I don't know, Lincoln. You've tackled a lot of this, and your poor little voice can't handle much more. So I'm gonna take one of these. There are three things, generally three-ish things that I thought were worth mentioning. I'm sure Preston's got some that he thinks are worth bringing up. The first I feel like is the most obvious, but I just wrote, I too like the visual stylings of an antidepressant ad, because this thing looks so like intentionally bad. I have to assume intentionally horrible. Everything is gray and weird and murky and shitty. And I don't know what happened, but someone saw that and they went, good, put that movie. All I can assume is that maybe they put like a weird LUT right at the end. So it was like, it was about to go out and somebody put a weird color grading thing over everything, over the whole file. And then they were like, fuck, shit, it's out. And then everybody was like, oh, what a stylistic choice. And they were like, yep.
Yeah, this movie is so blue dabba dee dabba die to the point where like things that should be other colors are actually blue and things that should be red are actually gray at this point.
You know, like human flesh.
Yeah.
Like it should not be hard to tell the difference between which people are vampires and which people are not.
But boy, is it.
It should not be down to the eye color
Yeah, I mean, the color grading is horrible. The action is half-assed at best.
It's
no ass.
Quite bad.
Preston, what were you just doing? You're just looking off in another direction.
Making sure that my thing was still recording.
Okay. I actually can't fault you for that.
I'll allow it.
I will second that. Just the action being so terrible. Like there were times where every so once in a while, I saw a shot and I went, "Huh, that's an interesting shot." And then somebody would jump around like it was like a music video, and I went, "Ugh."
This movie's like actively cutting away from interesting things.
Yeah, and leaving us.
Well, yeah, because like anything that could be any sort of interesting fun to watch is just so motion blurred that you can't actually enjoy anything.
Yeah.
This might be the only movie that I turn on those stupid motion settings on my TV just to like try to get it to look more clear.
Try to even it out.
Yeah. It might look like a normal movie that way. How do we feel about the narration that goes throughout the whole movie?
I forgot it was happening, and quite honestly, sometimes I just thought she was muttering stuff under her breath. So it took me quite
no way for you to tell.
Yeah, it took me quite a while to figure out that that's what was going on. And then by the time I did, it was like, it doesn't matter.
There's a great moment near the beginning where the narration happens and she's standing up next to her bed and she just literally stands in silence and waits for the narration to finish. And then she sits down.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's such a 2012 thing, 2008 thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like that's so the least of my worries when I'm so like obsessed. It just all I can think about for the next probably week or so is going to be her like sitting on his back like Yoda while he runs up a hill. That's not an image that leaves a man's mind all too quickly.
I guess that brings us to the other thing that they're basically they're not vampires, they're X-Men.
Oh, they are the most X-Men you could get.
Like they're like a found family of people with special abilities who are like under the care of a doctor. Who, like,
and a couple of downsides here and there.
I really, really love when he's showing off all his powers because it's been revealed that he's a vampire, and he goes, as if you could fight me, and then he grabs the stick and throws it.
Like just a regular stick?
It's like a regular stick. It's not like an impressively big stick.
Yeah. He looks like a homeschool kid when he's doing that. Like
yes, he does.
He looks like he's like, I could kill you.
Then he runs in a little circle and like comes back. This whole movie, it's so funny. Like they want to show the vampires that they have power, but they're like hard limited by what they can actually accomplish in camera.
Right.
So they're like, hey, grab the boat and gently pull the boat towards the shore, which is very easy to do. And then we'll speed it way, way up and make it look like you have superpowers.
Yeah. Hey, get out of the car, walk around, and open the door. And then we're just going to zoom that up. And it's going to look so good.
Which is kind of a nice Blade throwback when the
there's just
car
zero like up. Creativity with any of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
They just sort of dropped some in randomly just for shits and giggles and didn't try to make it creative or interesting or like eye-catching.
No, or realistic. Like if I was able to do any of the shit that they can do in this movie, aside from throwing regular size sticks around, because I guess I could do that.
Yeah, you can do a lot of the stuff that you can pull a boat back to shore if it's
That's
near
true.
The dock.
If I was able to do the things that they do at the speed at which they do them, I would probably like that would be the only thing I do. That's everything I would do.
I want to talk about one thing that I kind of love about this movie is just how much of a dork Edward is the whole time.
Oh, he's so cute.
Like it's like a 14-year-old's idea of what like a powerful like creepy stalker man like with an obsession is, but he really rings just like a 14-year-old who has like an interest.
100%, yeah.
Like all of his like, I want to eat you, Bella. I want to suck your blood, but I don't. It just feels like a young, like a middle schooler explaining like the Five Nights at Freddy's universe to me. Like he's just such a dork, and it's kind of lovable. You're like, okay, I kind of get it. I kind of get how you're charming because you're like just so awkward and terrible, but like so earnest.
Oh yeah, but then every once in a while he'll turn around and it just there's just something in the energy, in the air in which he turns around that I'm like, you're gonna beat the sweet hell out of her in this moment. Like, I don't know what it is, but every once in a while it'll like pan or be like a Dutch angle, and it's like, oh, this could be like a full blown abuse story in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh shoot, because the movie just wants to constantly like. You're constantly in tension between the actual people on the screen and the story telling you how terrible their relationship is probably going to be.
Yeah, which I feel like, okay, that was a question I had. Do you feel that are we supposed to feel like this is a healthy romance? Because that's what everyone seemed to take away from this is like, oh, what a beautiful love story. That's not my thought at all.
I asked my sister, who is an actual teenage girl, and I said, is this like are you like into this? Is this like something that you would find like fascinating or whatever? And she was like, not at all. This is really weird. So I don't know what it was about people in 2008 that led them to think this was nice, but from basically everyone's eyes now, it feels, it's a terrible relationship.
I don't want to make too many judgment calls here, but is there any chance that people in 2008 just like hadn't been hurt yet? Is that possible?
I think like Obama was just president. We're like, we're optimistic as a nation. We're recovering from the crash. It's like, you know what? Everything's going to turn out fine. This relationship will be beautiful.
We're starting like a new space program and we're like, oh man, we're going to try some stuff out. Like this is going to be great. Everybody's going to love this.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so. I think we were in a period where we couldn't be hurt, much like Bella.
Yeah, so we were just like, what? How else will we find our trauma if
we were
not
recovering from our goth phase? Like we need to feel it somehow.
I wrote a note. My second thing that I wanted to bring up is I actually just in this case I just wrote dun 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 dun. So I wanted to talk about like Pattinson's a good actor. So
yeah. So what the fuck happened?
What happened? Like we've talked a lot on other, unnamed podcasts. We've talked a lot about how like a bad script is hard to be saved by a good actor, but very rarely do you find a good actor being blatantly bad in a movie. And that's the thing is that it's not just him, because I think Anna Kendrick's pretty good. I think in the right context, Kristen Stewart can be really good. And absolutely 0% of the people in this movie are at all good. None of them at all.
I think the beginning,
not a one.
The beginning of it is that I think it wasn't cast very well.
Okay.
I think tell me by about appearances, that. I think the appearances, like their looks are fine, but I think Kristen Stewart should be playing kind of like a streetwise kid, like someone who's like kind of sardonic and joking and has a kind of a rapport, like she's like has rapport with people.
Sure, yeah.
But Kristen Stewart is just playing it as melancholy and like quiet and sad as she can. Basically, they wrote Kristen Bell and they got Kristen Stewart. And then Edward, I think he's playing it too straight. I think if he was more ridiculous and like kind of
if he was a little zanier.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it should have been Jack Black.
That would have. I was actually thinking Michael Cera.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's incredible.
That's actually it's something that I've loved doing recently is like trying to recast movies, like who I would have cast. And hear me out.
Okay.
Okay, keep in mind, it's just going to be Amazing Spider-Man because it's going to be Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
And it's going to be directed by Mark Webb.
Wait, hold on. That is just the movie Amazing Spider-Man.
But it's from Gwen's perspective.
Okay. All right.
Because it's basically the same.
Okay. Actually, yeah,
And that brings me to this interesting question is this movie, I don't think it meant to do this, but it accidentally showed what would it be like to live through being the damsel in distress in a story.
Ooh. That's very interesting.
Because you experience, like, we think about Spider-Man in like the first two Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man movies, we see we're from Peter's perspective, and so we understand his like mood swings and his conflict between loving Mary Jane but wanting to protect her and keep her safe from the world that he kind of inhabits. But in this movie, we're on the outside. We're where Bella is, and she just sees a man who's just giving her terrible mixed signals and acting like she wants her, and he wants her, and then pushing her away all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like it's I think they accidentally said something about how like superhero stories are told.
Man, can you imagine if this had been good on any conceivable metric? That would have been something else. Because you're right. Like that's exactly what they're exploring. They're just exploring it in such a mundane, annoying way that I'll never think about it.
Yeah, yeah. But like it actually almost has something to say about like maybe we should consider more than just the hero's perspective in these kind of grand romances that we have in movies.
I think, okay, here's my other point though, is that Mary Jane sucks in those movies so bad. Every movie she's cheating on somebody. Literally every one of them she's cheating on somebody.
So what is
not related, has nothing to do with it. I'm just really, I feel the need to say that because it's been on my mind, if I'm being honest, for most of my life. That's a thought that's sort of been rolling around this old noggin of mine.
Yeah, she 100%
Hey,
does leave someone's wedding in that film, in the second film.
Yeah, like not someone's wedding. Her own wedding. For just a guy. She doesn't, well, I guess she knows. Does she know he's Spider-Man? Yeah, she knows he's
yes,
Spider-Man.
she does.
It's been a minute, Lincoln. I had to think about that for a second. Can we talk about baseball? I feel like we have to talk about baseball. Yes, I was about
to ask if we talked about baseball. The most fun scene in the whole movie.
Definitely. And also profoundly the worst, right? The worst scene that they made, but also in the way that I like, that tastes good to me.
Yeah. It's just going for it the whole time. You're like, decision. They're just making all these decisions.
Yeah, they do family baseball whenever it gets thundery. They dress up for family baseball. Everybody's jumping around on trees. You can full body tackle somebody in this game of baseball. There's a lot of decisions, and they're all very good.
A 2000s Muse song is playing.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's like they remembered they were making a movie for that scene, and so all the shots are interesting, not good, but interesting. And like all of them are shots, and not just like, oops, we accidentally captured these people acting, which is how the rest of the movie feels.
I love how, I don't know who any of the characters' names are besides Bella and Edward and Jacob, but whoever's the pitcher, I love that she kicks her leg up every time she pitches.
Oh, it's so good. She does the full rocket kick.
The full rocket pitch, as if she doesn't have superhuman strength.
It's so good. I love it. Okay, here's my favorite thing about that scene, is that they set it up like, we have to do baseball whenever it thunders, which is a little pathological, but I love that they're like, why do you have to do baseball when it's thundering? And they're like, you'll see. And then the sound design is so incapable of telling us that it's loud. It's just like, I still wonder why it's context. You have to get it from context clues.
Basically the sound design of this whole movie is just whack. It's just off everything. Like, remember when he stops the van? There's no sound associated with him stopping the van with his bare hands.
Why would there be? But there's so much sound when he pops the dent out of the truck. It's like the loudest sound on God's green earth.
And there's sometimes where it's like this quiet, intimate vocal scene, and then it's like, the gain is boosted way up and it sounds like that.
Oh, yeah. Preston, did you have any notes? I feel like we've been talking a lot about baseball here. Did you like, what did you think about baseball?
You know, baseball, it was, I think that's about when I stopped my little tune out moment for most of the movie.
Good. You caught the best part.
I was like, oh, this is something that does not belong in this movie whatsoever. And yet it is almost the only redeeming thing about this movie.
That is such a good way to put it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I love that the scene does absolutely nothing but provide some sort of a very weird meeting with the eventual villain.
Again, 1.5 hours into this 2-hour movie, we meet the villain.
And it's so much
movie.
It still barely like addresses that they're going to be the villain. That should have been like maybe 40 minutes into the movie. Maybe.
You know what, dare I say? I don't think this movie had to have a villain.
That would have been something. That would have been interesting.
Like, it could have just been about their relationship and the fact that he's a vampire. And he says at the beginning, what if I am the villain? And you're like, yeah, what if he is? And the movie's like, no, he's not. There's a worse guy. There's a worse blonde vampire boy.
Ironically, the movie has to shout that because the rest of the movie is shouting, yeah, he is. He definitely is.
The villain.
I feel strongly that, like, okay, I don't love that I have this information, but the later movies get into the whole Jacob and Edward of it all. Like they dive into the whole werewolf thing and the dichotomy between werewolves and vampires. They really get into that. That would have been an interesting antagonist for this movie if they had kind of delved into the second book a little bit. Again, I hate so deeply that I have this information that I've seen all of these movies before, but like that would have been something. And then build to like the weird council of vampires toward the end.
There's a scene where they kiss and there's no music playing, and it really, really bothered me that it was just silent.
Very scary.
It made me want to never kiss anyone again.
Yeah.
It's like, if this is what it looks like to even a hypothetical third party, I never want to do this.
I can't be a part of this anymore. I don't actually know why I wrote some of these notes that I wrote. I'm looking through them, and I wrote in all caps, "Is the dick sparkly?" And that's a good question.
That is a good question. Let me scroll over to the fanfic real quick.
Nobody wants to know the answer to.
There's so many people that would like to know the answer to that, I'm sure.
Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right, John, and I'm sure that there are probably several thousand fanfics that would love to enlighten you on that subject.
Yes,
Weirdly,
there definitely are.
Probably the weird Mayan one that Lincoln found would tell us, I bet. I don't know.
You want me to send you the link?
I do not want that. I want nothing less than that. Can't be clear.
Send it to his work computer,
Don't send it to any computer, any of them. Well, as this is a power hour and we have probably a power 40 minutes of podcast, I would say we should probably dive into our
equivalent
cinematic punishment.
Yeah. Oh, we should explain cinematic punishment because we've never done it before.
That's true. Yeah, we go through and we just give some examples of what this is the general equivalent punishment to. So I'll kick her off. This is watching this movie is the cinematic equivalent to looking at an apple and thinking, gosh, that apple looks kind of bad, and then tasting the apple and going, yeah, it's pretty bad.
This movie is a cinematic punishment to holding a piece of ice in your hand until it completely melts all the way.
This movie is the cinematic equivalent of being really excited to make a sandwich and realizing that you only have the heel of the bread left to make that sandwich. And you're just disappointed the entire time.
And very thick cut ham and no knives.
John, were you about to have an issue with?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I didn't think that was strong enough. I would say that this is the cinematic equivalent of holding a piece of dry ice until it
completely evaporates.
Officially melts.
This movie is the cinematic equivalent of trying to have a fun podcast with your friends and one of them just absolutely ruining it every single time.
I know, come on, Lincoln. This is the cinematic equivalent of getting a coffee at like a nice coffee shop and then forgetting you got it and then going back to it and it's cold now and it's just not good. It's disappointing.
This is the cinematic equivalent to walking into a room and forgetting why you walked into that room and then leaving and then realizing why you walked in and then going back to the room and forgetting again and doing that like 15 or 16 times in a row.
I think that might be it, boys. I think that's the best one.
So, I think there we go.
That's 1 point for Lincoln.
Guys, I feel like I did a bad job hosting because I think I still might be a little sick.
I don't know. It's tough to tell. I think you did great. I think, there's grace to be had.
For not the source material, I think you did fairly well.
Yeah, you gave about as much effort as anyone else in this movie. Whose turn is it? Do we know?
It's going to be Preston's turn.
What order this goes?
It's mine.
Preston's turn. All right.
It's mine.
As I want to guide into this. We'll kind of it's a rotating system for who recommends
requires
who forces movies on the other two. It is Preston's turn. Goes Lincoln, Preston, me, as I have just learned. Preston, go ahead.
Your movie for next week will be Rebel Moon.
No! I have to get Netflix for you fucks.
I mean, I paid for a month of Peacock to watch Twilight, so
That's valid. You know what?
now
Respect
my
that. That's
algorithm
fair.
is totally fucked for that month. So
Okay.
Okay. I assume you're talking
Anyways.
about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
yep.
And do we have any homework?
Good.
I was trying to think of a homework assignment, and I in my usual style, I do not have one.
Great. You're like a cool substitute teacher who we're like, oh sweet, Preston's teaching today.
Ooh, can I
exactly?
Can I suggest a little bit of
substitute
homework?
teacher that nobody wants.
No teachers want,
kids
but all the
really
students
like.
want. Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I be teacher's pet and suggest a little homework for this?
No.
Yes.
Good. I happen to know that Zack Snyder will be releasing his Snyder cut of this movie, and I think our homework should be to figure out what's going to be different.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Great.
I like that. That is the homework assignment. That is genius.
Well, thank you.
Preston, you could have rented Twilight.
Yeah, you could have
Sorry,
just paid
hold on.
$3.
You didn't
for
have
it.
to get Peacock. You could have just rented
Right.
it.
It was either rent it for $3 or pay $6 for a month of Peacock.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
all right.
fair.
I see the efficiency there. I'm sorry, Lincoln. I
And I get to watch
again.
the Continental, so not mad.
Score.
Thank you for listening to the Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour. It has been a wonderful Power Hour, hosted by your illustrious evening brothers. I have been Brother Lincoln.
I have been Brother John.
And this is Brother Preston.
Goodbye.